Okay, so tonight, I'm going to be talking about um, doormat behavior and why being a doormat is actually masculine, but it's not healthy masculinity. It's very unhealthy masculinity. So now, if you have my book, I talk a little bit about um, being a doormat and how it's a very misconception by a lot of people who are not familiar with femininity. When they think of femininity, they think that it means you have to bend over on the floor and let someone walk all over you, and you have to be subservient to them and their slave and all this other type of stuff. And that is a terrible misconception. And it's none of it is true. So being a feminine woman has nothing to do with being a doormat. Actually, if you are a doormat or if you engage in doormat behavior, it's actually more of a masculine trait. And it's more of a masculine trait because you aren't being your authentic self when you're in masculine, when you're being a doormat, right? You're more so of trying to watch what you say, watch what you do, and use those, I guess, passive aggressiveness to get the outcome that you want. So, in a way, doormats are very manipulative. And being a doormat or exhibiting doormat behavior is very manipulative because instead of just saying how you feel or speaking on a situation, a lot of times doormats will play martyr, play the victim, things like that. And they will play, oh, I'm such a good person. I don't understand why this one is doing this to me. Instead of just speaking up for themselves or holding a place for the boundaries and the standards that they have, right? So instead of doing those things, they'll roll over and they'll say, oh, okay, whatever you want, or, maybe I shouldn't feel this type, maybe I shouldn't feel this way about the situation. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Maybe I should just keep it to myself, right? Um, or you just go with the flow. Going with the flow is another sign of being a doormat. And we all know that feminine energy and being feminine is being authentic and speaking up for yourself and holding a space for your boundaries, holding a space for your standards. And so if you're afraid to do that, or if you're um, feeling like, it'll be more effective if you, keep the peace and not say anything, or you just say, okay, well, I'll just agree with whatever he wants, or I'll just go along with whatever he wants. And, at the end of the day, this is the thing about doormats. Usually, and this is especially true with men, but this is true with anyone. At the end of the day, no one wants a yes man around them. Um, Even the most dictator of persons, at some point, you want to hear someone tell you the truth about what's going on. You don't want them, yes men get very annoying after a while, right? Someone who's always a yes man. And the doormat is a yes man, or a yes woman, I should say, because she's the person that will not disagree. She was the person that will not speak up for herself or not speak up in the situation when she absolutely should, and she absolutely has the right to speak up for herself. But instead, she'll say, you know what, I'll just go along to keep the peace, to keep the balance, or because I'm afraid that he'll get upset, or I'll lose him, or he won't give me the answer that I really am looking for, and all those type of fear-based reasons why, you would prefer to let someone walk all over you. And in my book, I have a quote that says, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it basically says, don't be a doormat, get off the floor, right? And so if you are laying on the floor, what else can someone do except walk over you, right? You put yourself there. And so that's the thing about being a doormat is a lot of times they are victims and they play the blame game and they don't want to take the accountability of the fact that they put themselves on the floor. But just easily put yourself on the floor, you can get up. Okay, so what about people who are unaware that they are this way? Okay, so that's the thing. I mean, most people in these type of things, the same thing with a lot of different personality traits. There's plenty of narcissists who are not being narcissists on purpose. You know, a lot of people are sociopaths who are not being sociopaths on purpose. So it's the thing about it. It's not so much that the person is doing on purpose. It just is what it is type situation. So, um, but I feel like if they aren't aware that they're doing it, it doesn't take away the fact that they're doing it, if that makes sense. And it doesn't take away the consequences of their actions because at some point in the relationship, they have to, everyone has to take accountability for themselves and look at themselves and see what am I doing in this relationship that is causing it or me to be unhappy, right? So if you're in a relationship with someone and there's constant arguing, there's constant conflict, now you could sit up there and blame the other person and say, okay, well, they're mean, they don't take my feelings into accountability or into an account. You could say that, maybe you can call them a narcissist, something like that, or they're just evil. You can give people all these labels. You put all the responsibility on them. And that may make you feel better for a little bit, but at the end of the day, the problems will still be there if you still reside in in a connection or relationship with this person. So what you should do instead is say, okay, you may not know that the label is being a doormat, but you should say to yourself, well, I don't like the results that I'm getting, right? So what can I do to change it? And is there something that because there's different things in a relationship. There's things where there are clear red flags where you need to leave the situation. It's a clear red flag. That's who that person is. And there's nothing you can do to change it. But then there's other situations where a clear conversation needs to be had, right? Because like I said, like you stated, what if they don't know? What if this other person isn't aware that maybe if you're in a relationship with a narcissist or just someone who is just unaware of how they're coming off, that they're coming off to you that certain way. So that's what I'm saying why being a doormat is so detrimental to a relationship. Because if you don't tell anyone, people are not mind readers. If you don't tell anyone that you have a certain problem with something they're doing, then they're not going to know that you have a problem with it. And they're going to continue to do it. Right? And so a lot of times people can sense that there's an issue, but at the same time, since they're not a mind reader, they won't know. And since they don't know, they're not going to fix it. They're just going to feel uncomfortable with the fact that they feel that there's this sense of something off, especially how men interact with things. Like a man may not be able to say, okay, I know that this is her issue, but he'll have this feeling of like, okay, this feels uncomfortable. This feels like a tense situation. This feels conflicty, right? No, that's not a word. I just made it up. But it feels like there's this unending conflict between you guys, right? And so he'll say, okay, this doesn't make me feel good. So he'll, back away and things like that. And then what you were trying to do, which is keep the peace in order to keep the relationship intact, keep arguments down, things like that. And this is also true in dating, not just if you're in a relationship with someone, but you're trying to keep the arguments down and things like that. But what you essentially do when you are a doormat is that you push men away, because being a doormat is masculine behavior, like I said earlier. It is masculine because it has this undertone of control, right? You are trying to control an outcome, but you're trying to do it in a passive aggressive manner. So it's just as bad as you were trying to control the outcome by directly committing one of the deadly sins, right? and being direct about it or being aggressive about trying to control the outcome, right? So, for example, if you are dating someone and they, I don't know, they're constantly late to meeting you, like this is like the second or third time that he's supposed to pick you up, and he is 30 minutes late, doesn't call, doesn't, um, doesn't give you a heads up or anything like that, just constantly late. So, and this bothers you as it should bother anyone. All our time is valuable. So it should always bother you when someone wastes your time or is not respectful of your time, right? So you feel disrespected, you feel slighted, you feel angry, whatever you may feel, all justifiable. Now, doormat behavior would be not saying anything. Just being like, oh, I'm just going to let it go. That's being a doormat, right? Because this man knows, I can guarantee you, any adult person who has a job and has any responsibilities understands the importance of time and other people's time. So that person knows that it's disrespectful to not honor your time and at least not give you the decency to let you know that they're being late or they're going to be late, right? Anyone who has any type of responsibility understands the importance of time. So when you don't say anything, you are giving that person permission. Like I said, you are laying on the floor and you're giving that person permission to walk over you. Now, in their mind, they know that it's disrespectful to waste your time. But since you didn't say anything in order to keep the peace, or because you didn't want to rock the boat, or because you feel like, okay, maybe in your mind you think it's being feminine not to say anything, or whatever the case is, what you essentially do is that person, especially men, they will lose respect for you little by little. Each time you allow a man to walk over you, he loses respect for you more and more. And actually, this is the case with anyone. Just think about the people in your life who you have walked all over, or who wasn't so quick to stand up for themselves, and they were kind of like a passive person and things like that. And you just kind of like just felt turned off about them. Like, okay, it doesn't make sense why this person is clearly getting disrespected, or the person that you go to who you can always borrow money for and they never ask you why or something like that. You will continue to come and ask that person for money. Even if you feel conflicted about it, this is the thing. Anytime a person lets you walk over them, even if you are quote unquote what some people would label a good person, if someone lets you walk over them, it's just human nature to walk over people. What they say, only the strong survive. And this is very true. It's the animalistic part of humanity to walk over people who allow themselves to be walked over. If you are prey, there's always going to be predators. And so for men, when a man sees that you don't respect yourself, he just automatically knows that he doesn't respect you. And if he's a quality man, a man, like I said, in so many ways, respect is everything for men, and it goes both ways. It's everything for you to respect them, and it's everything for them to respect you. And so if he's a quality man, and not just, he's a fuck boy or something like that, but if he's a quality man and he finds himself not respecting you, he will be turned off. And then he will, you know, most likely go elsewhere, because respect is everything to me. And like I said, respect in both directions. He needs to absolutely feel like you respect him, and he needs to absolutely respect you. So if he's late and he did not say anything to you and you just let it slide and you say, okay, I'm sure he was in traffic, or I'm sure he was late, or you try to be understanding, all this stuff. It's perfectly fine to be understanding after someone has explained themselves and apologized and things like that. And you say, okay, cool. Because he's taking accountability for the fact that he's late. But if he takes no accountability and you don't hold him accountable, you're being a doormat. And so in the back of his mind, he's going to be like, okay, I was 30 minutes late and she didn't say nothing. He's not gonna think, oh, she's a cool chick, like she doesn't complain about nothing, which is what a lot of doormats think, and this is why being a doormat is masculine, because you think that he's gonna think, oh, you're cool, you're not like other women, you don't complain, all this other stuff, which is you essentially trying to control the outcome and trying to paint yourself in a certain light, right? So you're trying to impress him, you're not being yourself. Oh, this is masculine energy, it's masculine energy, it's masculine energy. So in the back of his head, he's gonna say, you know what? You know, at first he may think, oh, it's cool that she wasn't late. But if it's something that you do in this situation again, in other situations, he's going to take notice of it in the back of his subconscious. And he's going to be like, okay, this girl literally doesn't have a problem with anything that I do. Like, she never says anything. And he's going to be like, I don't know if that's the type of person I want in my life. Because essentially, a man wants a woman who has some type of boundaries and standards. And he has to know that if things hit the fan, you know how to handle conflict resolution. Everyone wants someone who knows how to handle conflict resolution in an adult manner. Right. He'll think it's okay for a second, because, like, this is the thing. No one really wants to be held accountable for their actions, even though they know they should be. So, for a second, the fact that you're not holding that person accountable, they may be happy about it and be like, oh, okay, this person is easygoing. They don't, like the other chick, she would have cursed me out and stuff like that, which is also not the way to handle it. You don't curse them out, but you also don't be a doormat, right? So those are two extremes. But he'd be like, oh, the other girl would curse me out if I was like 5 minutes late. And this one, I'm 30 minutes late. And she didn't say nothing. Initially, he may think that's a good thing. But over time, if this is something that you continually do, he will continue to be late. I guarantee you that. Because if you don't require anyone to respect you, they don't. You can't make other people responsible for respect. Respect starts with you, right? And this is especially true with men. Like, men do not respect women who don't respect themselves. It's just not in their DNA. Even the good guys, there's plenty of good guys who are out here using women for sex. And you may say, well, how is he a good guy using women for sex? And it's because at the end of the day, if someone will allow you to mistreat them, you will do it. And you won't think about it. You won't think like, oh, maybe I should stop. Maybe, because at the end of the day, when you're thinking about it, you're not really thinking that you're being, quote unquote, an evil person. You're thinking that this other person doesn't have a problem with it. So it must be okay, right? That's just human nature. You must think it must be okay. Because if it wasn't, then wouldn't they say something? That's how most people think. Like, if this person really didn't have an issue with this, well, when they speak up for themselves, and that is the bad position that people who are doormats put themselves into, because they put themselves in this position, women put themselves in this position to be prey by predators. And a lot of times these predators aren't normal predators, or they aren't intending to be predators, but it's just like if a cat is minding his business and then you just throw a mouse right in front of him. He may have already ate. He may have been like, I didn't really, I was really trying to go find mice. But hey, can I really just let this mice go? When is a mouse ever going to just fall in my lap like this again? So you better believe he's going to pounce on the prey, right? Because the prey is there. It's there in front of him. He was minding his business and a mouse came and laid down in front of him. And this is the thing about being a doormat. As doormats, you come and you lay down in front of these predators. And any person, honestly, this is, like I said, this is human nature. This is the animalistic part of human nature. Anybody can become a predator. And, and like I said, it's the little things about being a predator. It's the person who continually asks someone for money, knowing that you probably shouldn't continue to ask that person money, but you keep doing it because they keep saying yes. It's like children with parents. Like, you keep asking your mom for money because you know she's going to say yes. You're being a predator, right? By preying on her because she's not taking a stand and saying, no, you need to figure it out. You need to get a job. You need to do X, Y, and Z. or showing you a way to make money or making you earn the money and then giving it to you, right? Teach you some type of responsibility. But if she's just like, you like, hey, mom, I need $100. Here you go. Oh, that was easy. And then you automatically turn into a predator and she becomes a prey. And neither one of you are intending to be predator or prey. You're not thinking like, oh, I'm preying on my mom. And she's not like, oh, I'm being prey, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying with the whole dynamic of men being, even the good guys can turn into predators on women who willfully are doormats. And they're not trying to be predators, and that's not who they are. They're not necessarily like bad people or bad men. It's just you literally, like the cat and the mouse, you literally laid in front of them on the floor. For a recovering doormat, what do you suggest in terms of some good principles for communicating feelings, standards, and boundaries? Okay, that's a good question, Froggy 47. So, so you say you're a recovering doormat. So, can you tell me how you are a recovering doormat? And then, so I go over this type of stuff, how to do this in the book, in my book. But basically, an example of you are late or he is late. He is 30 minutes late for coming to pick you up for this date. And he did not text you, he did not call you, he did not give you heads up. He showed up at your house 30 minutes late to pick you up. No you get in the car or whatever, he gives you no explanation. He's like, hey, like, doesn't even acknowledge the fact that he was late. So there are a couple of responses you can have. You can be a doormat and not say nothing. Or you can go to the other extreme and fly off the handle and curse him out or get very aggressive in your tone, right? Or the third approach, which is which is the more feminine approach, would be to realize how the situation made you feel. Because this thing about being a doormat, doormats do not get in touch with their feelings, and that's why it's not feminine energy. Because a feminine woman gets in touch with her emotions and she expresses herself from those emotions. So if you are a doormat, what you do is you ignore your emotions for the sake of keeping peace or not rocking the boat. So instead, you need to get in touch with your feelings. So how does it feel? What you ask yourself is what did this action that he did, how does it make me feel? How do I feel right now that I just waited 30 minutes for him to show up with no type of communication? How do you feel? So most likely you're going to feel upset. You're going to feel disrespected. You're going to feel disregarded, probably disappointed. There's a list of negative emotions that you're going to feel because this person had no regard for your time. So what you should do is, instead of, like I said, being a doormat and not saying anything, because when you don't say anything, you're giving him permission to continue to do it. You're giving anyone permission to continue to treat you some way when you don't stand up for yourself. Same thing, like I said, with the mom who continues to give her child money instead of saying no or giving her some other alternative to getting money. Now, it's different. Every once in a while, you get an emergency, but every single time the person comes to you asking for money, you never tell them no. That's a problem, and you're enabling their behavior, right? You're enabling the predatory behavior. So, same thing, you're enabling his predatory behavior by not telling him that you have a problem with him being late, that it affected you, right? So, how do I feel? Well, I feel disregarded. So that's what I would say. I would say, I feel, the standard is, or your boundary is, I appreciate someone giving me a heads up when they're going to be late, but mostly I appreciate them trying their hardest to be on time. If you tell me 8 o'clock, I expect 8:05 at the latest. Now, something come up? Okay. I expect you to text me or call me and let me know, hey, traffic, meeting, whatever, I'm running late. Cool. Right? So I would say, you know what? It really does not feel good to me when I have to wait on someone without any communication from that person. Right? I feel like my time is being disregarded. And it makes me feel turned off or upset or whatever you want to add to it. And then you can add, and then you want his feedback, right? So you would say something like at the end, like, is there something going on? Was there something going on? Is there something that happened with you or something like that? Or is this like a pattern or something like that? So he can understand that you're holding him accountable, right? You're not attacking him. You're just holding him accountable for the fact that he wasted your time. So then at that point, if he's a normal person, not a narcissist, not a sociopath, or just all around fuckboy, if he's not those things, he will take accountability and be like, oh, I'm sorry, you know what, I was running late, traffic, meeting, whatever, whatever. I'll try and do better, right? That's a normal, healthy response. Now, if he gives you anything other than that, then he's not healthy. He may be a narcissist or something, or he just may not. I think the narcissist term is overused, but he may not be a narcissist, but he just may be a person that maybe just not into you like that or really care about you like that. He just may be like, well, I don't really care about your feelings, so oh well. He may have like a you're just lucky I'm here. You're lucky I'm taking you on a date type attitude. And if that case, definitely needs to be cut off. Because a man who doesn't care, like when you tell a man how you feel and he disregards your feelings, he doesn't care about you. Or he is more than likely a narc. Do you have suggestions for how to communicate your preference, disinterest in an effective, appropriate, and cool way? So I think I just answered that question as well. Let me know, Froggy. Um, yeah, I think I just answered your question right now, so let me know. But so that's how you would do it. So you were calm, you were collected, you didn't go off on the handle with him, you didn't fly and say, well, you know what, it's very disrespectful for you to be um making me wait and I don't know who you think you are and all this other type of negative, over exaggerated, dramatic response that you could give him, where he's just like, because this is the thing, especially about men, when you attack a man, and play the blame game with him, his male ego flares up, and even though he knows that he's wrong, it's less likely he will take accountability because the only thing that he will be feeling is his ego will feel attacked, and then he'll feel like you're his enemy. Even if he knows he's in the wrong, he will still deflect it back on you because you attacked his ego by making him wrong and getting aggressive. So that is why feminine speaking to men in a feminine way is the answer, because it does not flare up their masculine egos. And then they will, and more than likely, if they're healthy men and they have some type of concern about you, they will take accountability and try and attempt to make a change. Because if you tell a man that you have a problem with something and it's bothering you and it's affecting you emotionally, and he does nothing to make a change, he may not be able to perfect the change. It may be a struggle for him. He may slip and fall. But if you can say that he honestly tried to honor how you feel, then that is a healthy, masculine man who has concern for you as a woman. But if he's just like, oh, girl, you tripping, like it's not that serious. I see here, or he's like, oh, see, here you go again. If he does any of these type of things, just dismissive or disregarding type things, then that lets you know that he is not masculine, and or he is not into you like that, or He has some type of, I think what I said, not healthy, right? The first one. So not healthy is like, he's a narc or something, or a sociopath. He's not into you like that. Or he's just like, he may just be an immature. He may just be immature. He may be a person who doesn't understand how to take accountability. It may not be necessarily that he's like mentally unhealthy, but he just may be an emotionally or mentally immature or something like that. Okay, so do you guys have any questions? Okay. So yeah, so this video is really to debunk the myth that being a doormat and letting someone walk all over you has anything to do with being feminine. It has absolutely nothing to do with being feminine. Absolutely not. I just want, because I hear this all the time, and I think it was this misconception was started by feminists, but it's to really negate being in their feminine energy. But um, it's definitely not true. It's not feminine at all to be a doormat. It's not a healthy thing to do. Outside of it, not only is it not feminine, but it's just not a healthy way to live life. Period. Like I said, because if you lay down, someone will walk over you. It's just human nature. And the people who are walking over you, like I said earlier, it does not mean that they are naturally bad people. Right? Like I gave the example with the mother giving her child money over and over again. She doesn't think she's being a bad person, and neither does the child. Anybody looking on the outside would not say, okay, the mother's a bad person for giving her daughter money over and over again. Right? Or they would say, okay, the daughter's a bad person for asking for money over and over again, right? Neither person is a bad person according to what we naturally label bad people to be. But it's still predatory behavior for the child, the daughter, to continually ask for money, right? Because she isn't being told no. So when you, like I said, it just kind of elicits within you your natural animalistic instinct as a, I guess, the creation or whatever creature, um, to just take advantage of people who allow you to take advantage of you. And then there's a saying: you teach people how to treat you, and if you teach people that you're prey, then they will naturally become predators around you, even if they're not predators in other parts of their lives or with other people. Best way to stop being a doormat. Is that a question? Um, just realizing it's not serving you, realizing that it's a turnoff, um, realizing that it's not an effective way to get what you want in life, that people will get tired of you. Yeah, just see all the negative things about being a doormat, and just realize that it's much more effective to just tell people how you feel, especially as a woman. As a woman, it's more effective to tell men, tell other women, whoever, how you feel. And then that right there, when you hold when you hold yourself accountable, you hold other people accountable. That allows there to be intimacy. Because and this is another thing that happens usually with doormats. So like, they'll be sweet, or they won't say anything. And then there'll be that one tiny thing that they will blow out of proportion and they'll blow up. Right? It'll be something really small. And then everyone else, especially men, will think you're crazy as heck, because it may be one little thing. Like, you may have all this time Never said anything about him being late, never being late. And this one time, you know, he's like literally 5 minutes late. Every other time he was like 30 minutes late. But it's like you've let it go so much. You've let it go so much. Not say anything. And that one time he's only 5 minutes late, you blow up at him. You blow up. And he's just like, whoa, this chick is so crazy. I was only 5 minutes late. Right? And so you're going to be made to feel crazy, and he's just going to be like, whoa, this is just too much. This is over dramatic response for only being 5 minutes late. Like, and then he's going to be turned off, right? Because that's really what happens when you pin up your emotions and you don't let them out in a healthy way. They have to come out. They have to come out, and they will come out. And they usually come out in the form of some type of blow up. You'll blow up on somebody, right? You'll either blow up on that person or some innocent person. Because especially negative emotions, it's like a soda, right? You're shaking it, you're shaking the soda. You can shake it so much, but at some point it's gonna explode, right? The top's gonna come off, or when you open it, it's just the soda's just gonna, it's gonna spill all over the place. And that's how it is with negative emotions. Like if you don't let them out, it's just like you're shaking the soda, you're shaking the soda. You pop the lid and then it just spills all over the place. So they come out and then you absolutely turn that person off. And he's just like, whoa. Like she never said nothing when I was 30 minutes late, but she popped off for 5 minutes? This chick needs help. So even though like I said, even though all those other times he may have knew he was wrong for being that amount of late, but the fact that you never said anything, he never thought it was a problem, or not necessarily he didn't think it a problem, but he didn't think it was a problem for you. Like he didn't think you had an issue with it. And so when you finally explode in 5 minutes, he's gonna think you're mentally unstable, which is usually what men think to any dramatic response. Anytime you over dramatize something, men automatically go into she's crazy. So that is also happening a lot. I'm sure you guys have experience with that type of situation where you've held something in, you've had something in, you have something in, and you never said anything, and then it was like that little tiny straw that broke the camel's back, and then you ended up exploding on somebody. And you may have said some things you regretted, and that person was just done with you, right? And all of that could have been avoided if you just had spoken your mind as soon as the problem arose. So that is how feminine energy saves you in relationships, especially with men, is it allows you to handle conflict the best way head on. And it also allows you to bypass his ego, his masculine ego, which will make him feel attacked and make him shut down from you. And he more than likely will not take accountability for his actions. And then this is when he probably will disregard you, even though he may know in the back of his mind that he's in the wrong. He just allows you tripping. Does that make sense, guys? I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah. So I hope you guys understand. I hope you understand why doormat behavior is masculine, and I hope you understand um, how to rectify doormat behavior if you recognize that you have been a doormat or are currently a doormat right now, and also if you or anyone you know have had the misconception that being a doormat is a part of being feminine. Okay, so I'm going to end this video now. Um, Drop your questions in the or concerns or comments in the comment section, and like and subscribe. Till next time, ladies, have a good evening. Bye bye.